what's up? This is Patrick. Welcome to episode 4 of the Double ETF podcast, Everything Except the Football. Today, I have with me Michael Bagford from the Name That Tune Zoom Room. We geeked out about video games, horror movies, music, some books as well, and a few other things. Great conversation, great time. I hope you enjoy it. So here it goes, my conversation with Michael Bagford. All right, with me, I have Michael Bagford and Bags. What's up, Bags? How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good, awesome. We know each other from the Name That Tune weekly Zoom quiz. You've heard the previous episodes. You know I ask a lot of questions. So my first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Basically, my name is Michael Bagford, which is my full name. My job is, I quote, broadband for this company called Lumen Technologies, which is out like in Colorado. And I actually work from home in Ohio, and it's a not very exciting job. So the more exciting thing for me is I'm on Twitter, and I'm part of the Rock Solid, kind of this Twitter community that we got going on. We play this Name That Tune every Saturday from about 2 to 4:30, and we just have fun. Kind of a lot of comedy, a lot of music stuff. On Twitter, I do this Rock Solid album a day. Today, I did Paul McCartney's third album, which came out. So it's December 18th, 2020, as we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a daughter. Her name is Sophia. I do not live with her mom anymore, but me and her mom get on good terms. So we have shared co-parenting, and everything is going good in that department.
Good. So you mentioned you were in Ohio?
That's correct.
Are you from there?
I've lived in Ohio all of my 36 years of life.
Okay. And there was this question that I asked my previous guest. Okay, so we talk about music a lot. You tweet and talk about music as well. Do you play an instrument?
I play the drums, even though it's been quite a few years since I've last played the drums. I think just parenting and all of that's kind of put drumming on the back burner. I might get back into it, but right now it's kind of non-existent at the moment.
Were you in a band at some point?
I did this open mic night thing with my friend Brad and his brother Ben, and we did it for about a couple months, about 10 years ago. We had some good nights, some not so good nights with customers since it was kind of in a bar setting, and you know how bars can be sometimes. It was
Yes.
it was either we had like a bunch of people or we'd have no people. Those were the more interesting gigs where we didn't have anybody there.
Nice. So when did you start playing drums?
I started about when I was 5 years old. My cousin-in-law, Sean, figured I had potential to be a drummer, and he was right for a while. I kind of started taking it seriously when I was in high school. I got hold of my friend some years later that I went to high school with, and that's when we started doing open mic nights, and we did band practices and stuff. I think the band practices were a lot more fun because we were doing a lot of original material. And that was really fun to play, but unfortunately, bars at open mic nights, they mainly want you to stick to covers. So I got really sick of Sublime and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Who wouldn't be? So did you study music, or did you take classes, or did you learn everything by yourself?
I just pretty much learned by ear. I never read music or studied music in that way. I just kind of learned by ear and just played along to whatever I wanted to drum to.
Oh, okay. And you did you ever try other instruments at some point?
I know some chords on guitar. I know a tiny bit of piano, but not that much.
You probably know more than me. I took 3 years and I still suck. So what would be your favorite genres?
I would say progressive rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got some shit for it on Name That Tune.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
On Twitter, a lot of people make fun of my progressive rock picks, and usually there's a hashtag called prog rock bullshit. So I'll get that when I post like a Gentle Giant or King Crimson album.
And what got you interested into that kind of music specifically?
Ever since I was 3 years old, Pink Floyd was my band. That was the band that actually got me into music.
Oh, okay.
My parents' friends, his name was Mike. That's the guy I was named after. And
Okay.
Pink Floyd's A Momentary Lapse of Reason was a brand new album out at the time. And I was about 3 years old. And my mom recalls that the song The Dogs of War came on. And they noticed like I kind of went into a trance. Like I got really interested in the song. Like something kind of struck with me. Like the music got into me that day.
Nice. And that was the beginning of a long relationship with music.
Yes, and then I got involved into listening to the Beatles, as
Okay.
most kids that get into rock usually do. Jimi Hendrix, Santana, the Rolling Stones. Unfortunately, Eric Clapton back in the day.
Yeah, with what we've learned recently, that's he probably lost some shine.
He's kind of lost shine with me over the years a bit, just because I've discovered better guitar players, and
Okay.
I kind of got tired of the white person playing the blues type thing because most of
Yes.
the time that doesn't translate that well. I mean, the Rolling Stones can do it very well, but there's not many bands or artists that can replicate that. So
Okay. Who would you say is your okay for example your top three favorite bands? What would you say it is?
I would say number one is Pink Floyd. Number
Mm-hmm.
two would be The Who. And number three would be The Police.
Okay. Now that I think about it, when I had the Synchronicity during the game that I hosted, you would have nailed that question, right?
Yes.
Okay. There you go, Kevin Hartbarger. That one's for you. All right. So, I talked a little bit with Josh in the first episode about music movies or music in movies. Was there one of those movies that stuck with you?
I would say Pink Floyd's Live at Pompeii is one that has stuck with me throughout the years, as well as the Who documentary, The Kids Are All Right.
Okay. But the one about Pink Floyd, is that more of a concert movie or?
Yes, that's a concert film. It was
Okay.
made in 1972, and that's them performing at the Pompeii Amphitheater.
Hmm.
Later pressings of the movie, they had footage of them recording Dark Side of the Moon at the time, so that was also in the film as well.
Oh, okay. And what about movies with a straightforward story or something? Is there any of those that like clicks with you more?
I would say Quadrophenia.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I saw that a long time ago, but yeah, good call.
Yeah, a lot better than the Who's first straightforward film. Well, straightforward in a sense when you're on a bunch of drugs. Tommy,
Tell
which
me, oh yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. Maybe that makes me like a bad music fan or something. But no, I've never seen it, and I don't know. I'm guessing some of those movies don't age that well.
yeah, some don't. I'm kind of iffy on musicals in general, and Tommy is pretty much a musical. It's them singing all of the time, and it's kind of an inferior version of the album. It's not the Who singing on all of the tracks. It's you got Tina Turner and Elton John, which are great. If you want to just watch those performances on YouTube, that
Hmm.
would be the way to experience Tommy. Otherwise, you're going to have to sit through Jack Nicholson singing a song, and you got Oliver Reed, who's a very bad singer, singing a song.
Okay, I didn't even know Jack Nicholson was in that movie. So learn something new every day.
I think he was in that film because he had previously worked with Anne Margaret a couple of films before that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So another question that I asked everybody else before: are you a big sports guy?
I'm not really that big of a sports guy. I think after having to go to my brother's baseball games back when he was a kid all the time, when I pretty much just wanted to stay home and listen to music and play Nintendo and Sega Genesis and had to be dragged away from that, it's kind of not really helped my liking of sports, even though I do like watching baseball games now.
Hmm.
When we didn't have this COVID-19 thing going on, I liked going to the Dayton Dragons. I kind of live close by Dayton, Ohio, and that's the local team.
Okay.
I like going to see them. I liked seeing Cincinnati Reds games as well. I used to see them more when I was a kid. but I did go once some years back, and it was a fun experience. So I do like watching baseball games, even though sometimes, like, my favorite part of the baseball game is when they're pretty much raking the field
Okay, yeah.
to make it look nice. Same with hockey games. I like it when the Zamboni comes out.
So you like it when they're not playing, pretty much.
I kind of just like it more for the atmosphere, like just the atmosphere of it, and it's a good time.
Yeah, and you mentioned a Sega Genesis. I had that too. Do you remember your favorite games?
I really liked Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is now my daughter's favorite game on the Sega Genesis.
Okay, I mean, do you? They have emulators for every console now, so I guess if you want to play like old school stuff, it's not a problem.
Right. My daughter has a Nintendo Switch, and we have like a Sega Classics collection game, so that's
Ah,
how she
nice.
plays it.
Okay.
And then there's also like a Nintendo Switch Online type thing, which has like some of the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. So she can play like Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that as well.
I had a Super Nintendo as well at some point.
Yeah, I did too.
I think everyone did. Do you remember the Genesis? I'm trying to remember what games. I mean, I had hockey games, of course, but there was this one, Jungle Strike and Desert Strike. Do you remember that with a chopper with like a Zaxxon, like a isometric view or something, like a, kind of at an angle?
No, I don't
Does
remember.
it ring a bell? I'm probably too old, but no, yeah, those were fun times. And on the Super Nintendo, I think it was Street Fighter, my favorite game. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really liked Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all those fighting games and Final Fight.
Yeah. Did you ever get into gaming on PC?
I did back in the '90s. Like I played Doom and Duke Nukem 3D.
Yes, yes. Quake.
Yes, Quake.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. Do you remember Syndicate? Or do you
No,
know about that game? There was Syndicate, and the sequel was Syndicate Wars from 1999, I think, and it was another one of those a 3D-ish map of an entire city, and you had four agents, like cyborgs, pretty much, that you could upgrade as you went along and completed missions. And what was pretty cool in Syndicate Wars, you could destroy everything. You could destroy the entire city if you wanted to. Or you could go stealth, or you could barge in and kill everyone inside, civilians included. And you could even, like, you had this machine, Jesus Christ, this is such a tangent. You had this machine called in French, it was called the Persuadotron. Probably the same in English, but then you could, like, hypnotize civilians so they would pick up weapons and shoot at the bad guys with you. So anyway, yeah. Story time, memory lane. No, yeah, so that was fun stuff. So
how
yeah,
far did
sport.
you get into gaming?
Oh, I had a PlayStation 3 until a few years ago. I gave it to my nephew. But no, I mean, for years and years, I played every NHL game. I think I played NHL from NHL 11 until NHL 18, I guess, or 17. Yeah, hockey games, of course, was my big thing, and Grand Theft Auto as well.
Yeah.
I played Vice City and 5. Did you play those as well?
Oh, yes, I played the Grand Theft Auto games. I never played the first two, but I played Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 4 and
Okay.
5.
I mean, Jesus, and still to this day, I sometimes I wish I still had my PS3 so I could play some Grand Theft Auto.
I still have it. I just haven't played video games that much lately.
No time.
Not that much time. I used to play them a lot when I was younger, and I think I've just kind of run out of time. I use more of my time to listen to music or watch movies.
Mhm.
I'll listen to all my podcasts when I'm working, pretty much. And
Okay.
when I have my daughter, I'm usually watching her most of the time anyway.
Okay.
Even if I try to do something, sometimes it's like, hey, I noticed Dad is doing something.
But how old is she?
She turned 7 in June, so she is 7 years old.
Okay. And is she into music?
Oh, yes. She sings all the time.
Okay. Does she play any instruments?
Sometimes she'll play parts of my drum set. And she kind
Oh,
of has, like those toy instruments. She likes playing on those.
okay. Okay, so about the COVID thing, I guess homeschooling became a thing, I suppose, for you guys?
My daughter is on the autism spectrum and she kind of goes to a trumpet school. And the thing is, it's a very small class. So she still goes,
Okay.
but it's pretty safe for her. She kind of needs to be in that school environment to thrive because she is on the spectrum and it does help her to go to school. Because I think we did try the homeschooling thing when they couldn't go to classes physically and it didn't work
Hmm.
out as well.
Okay. From what I've heard, and you can confirm, I think routine is very important to those children, right?
Yes.
So as much as possible, you stick to the usual thing, I suppose. Just to go back to COVID, just for a few seconds, what's the situation like in Ohio right now?
It's a little bit rough where we're living right now. I think my county is on a level 3. Same with where my daughter's mom lives. It's about the same as well. Even though her mom is pretty good about keep social distancing. I'm very good about social distancing as well. I don't really go out that much anyway. If I
Hmm.
go anywhere, I wear my mask.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ash wears her mask too. Sophia wears a mask as well.
Okay. Are you guys in a big city?
I would say it's kind of a medium city where my daughter's mom lives. Mine's more of a kind of small, medium college city. I live in Urbana.
Okay. The name rings a bell, but how many people live there?
I'm not sure how many people live there.
I could look it up. Okay, so Urbana, 11,000. Does that sound right?
That sounds about right. I think
Okay.
Springfield has slightly more, and that's where my daughter's mom lives.
Springfield is 60,000.
Yeah, that might be about right.
Okay, so I had a few original questions related to soccer that I adapted for the first episode with Josh. So I'll ask you the same questions if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so then the original question was, what is your favorite soccer movie? But I'll switch that around. I kind of asked that question before a few minutes ago. What is your favorite music movie? So I'm gonna flip it around and I'll say, what is the music movie that you hated the most?
Oh, I would say Moulin Rouge.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that one. I mean, yeah. Do you remember why you hated it? Or you just remember hating it?
I remember they did like a really bad version of "Smells Like Teen Spirit" in it, and as a
It pissed you off.
yeah, and it's a musical too. I just don't really like musicals all that much.
I don't either. I mean, I understand that they can appeal to some people, but I'm not one of those people. It's really not my thing. But I didn't hate Moulin Rouge. The song I remember the most was their cover, quote unquote, of Like a Virgin. I remember that one. But I don't remember Smells Like Teen Spirit for some reason.
Maybe your brain is trying to forget it.
Maybe I blocked it out, as a self-preservation mechanism. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Second question. What is your favorite book related to music? Could be a biography or could be something else. Is there one of those books that stayed with you?
I would say the real Frank Zappa book by Frank Zappa.
Okay. You probably saw. There was a documentary about Zappa recently, right? You saw it?
Yes, I have seen the documentary. I've talked to Josh. We might be covering that film in the future.
Okay. You got a inside information right now. That's a scoop. All right, that's a good, yeah, good call. I didn't see it, but from what I remember, it was pretty good.
Yes, it was really good.
Okay, and that book that Zappa wrote, I mean, he died a few years ago, but do you remember what year it was?
He wrote that book in 1988.
And was it like a biography or?
The way it's structured, it's kind of like the first 100 pages or so are like an autobiography, but he kind of like stops in 1972 and then like the rest of the book is like a bunch of different subjects. Like there's a big chapter just about music theory and stuff they had to deal with music wise. There's a lot
Okay.
of stuff about politics in there. So you get a lot of stuff about 1980s politics at the time. There was a chapter about his battle against music censorship, which he was battling in the mid 80s at that time.
Okay. Music censorship.
Yeah.
I, Tell me more.
There was a big thing in the U.S. in 1985 where they had the PMRC, which was pretty much Tipper Gore, who was the wife of Al Gore, who was a senator at the time, brought home a Prince album for her children, and she didn't listen to it beforehand.
Okay.
And they had the song Darling Nikki on the Purple Rain soundtrack, and she was a little bit mortified by that. So she decided to get a bunch of senators' wives together to pretty much have to put warning labels on albums and kind of promote the idea of censorship. Frank Zappa did not like that, as well as a bunch of other musicians. So there was a big Congress hearing where
rappers as well. Rappers, they didn't like that.
I think when they started putting labels on music eventually, I think it actually helped out some artists like rappers and stuff, because if you see like an explicit warning, it's like, ooh, I'm kind of interested in this album, So it kind of backfires on.
I think I kind of remember that now, like the beginning of the what's the word I'm looking for? Advisory. Like it was a black label with white text. If I remember, that's still
advisory lyric.
I didn't know that, but now I kind of remember it was Al Gore's wife that started the entire thing. So Zappa talks about that.
Yes. So he talks about doing that Congress hearing and going to a bunch of other Senate hearings about it and what his views were on it. So it's just pretty much like a book about it's like subjects, like what Frank Zappa thinks about them. That's how it is.
I kind of like the idea. The first 100 pages were like standard autobiography, and then you hear the guy or read about what the guy actually thinks by his own words. I like that.
Frank Zappa is like a pretty big influence on me personally and musically.
Okay. So next question. What is the first concert you went to?
The first major concert I went to was Santana with Jeff Beck in 1995 in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was 10 years old at the time.
Jesus. And what was the venue?
It was Riverbend Music Center in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And how many people were there? Do you remember?
I'd say that's like I want to say it's like a 20,000 person arena. That might not be right. But it's an outdoor arena. It holds a pretty good number of people.
Okay. And you were 10. Must have blown your mind.
Yes, and about got into a fight with a 40-year-old drunk at that time.
Jesus. Okay. So that was okay. So the next part of that question was, what is your favorite or most memorable concert? Maybe it was that one.
That one was pretty memorable. The most memorable and probably best concert I've been to was Roger Waters performing The Wall live in 2010.
Okay, where?
And that was at the Schottenstein Center in Columbus, Ohio. I think that holds more people than Riverbend does.
Nice. Awesome. Did you go by yourself or?
I went with my brother. My brother's kind of, when I go to concert, my brother's the guy that I usually go to concerts with. And he'll go to concerts that he might not be as familiar with the artists. Like when I saw Dweezil Zappa play Frank Zappa's music, my brother wasn't too familiar with Frank Zappa or Dweezil Zappa at all, but he went with me and he really enjoyed that concert. And I got him more into rock music, I think, because my brother's he was more into rap. And I think now he listens to rock and country and rap. And
it's pretty cool when you can introduce a new style of music to someone and they get into it big time. It feels like you did something right,
Yeah.
How old is your brother?
My brother is 2 years older than me.
Okay. Same for me. My brother is 2 years and 18 days older than me. So there you go. Next question would be, what is your most memorable brush with fame? It doesn't have to be the most famous person, but what is your favorite or most memorable brush with fame? It doesn't have to be music related either.
Most memorable brush with fame. Because I kind of get, some on Twitter, it's a little bit different because we're going through the internet. And I think it's a little bit easier to get in contact with people. Like Neil Sean from Journey, he retweeted a Santana album, which I did for Album a Day. And he talked about how that was a cool album for him. So it was kind of cool getting that recognition. And like I've
Nice.
had Dave Davis from the Kinks like one of my posts at one time, and I think I've had some other celebrities as well.
Okay.
Um, in person, I have met the band UFO, which is
Okay.
this is one of the favorite bands, and not so much of his wife's.
Yes. What year was that?
That was last year.
Oh, okay. Like, was it like a backstage or?
Yes, I decided to do one of these meet and greet things, and it was like $100. And it's like at this point, I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to really get the chance to see UFO, so I better take this chance and do it. And it was a blast meeting the guys. So I got to meet Phil Mogg and Andy Parker and Neil Carter and Vinnie Moore and bass player that they currently have. I'm sorry, his name's not coming to mind at the moment. He's not Pete Way, who
Okay.
unfortunately died earlier this year.
Oh, okay. So, from what you're saying, they seem to be pretty nice, friendly.
Yes, I actually had a really nice conversation with Vinnie Moore, the guitarist, because he comes from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I got to talk to him a little bit about the Cincinnati Reds and stuff in
Oh, nice.
Cincinnati. So it was kind of nice to have a nice little local connection there.
Yeah, that's true. So, did you ever have any good brushes with fame outside of a concert situation?
I don't think I have, unfortunately.
I mean, we don't live in California, so I guess that's less likely to happen. Like, you're not gonna run into a celebrity going into the grocery store or something.
I did see Wolfman Jack in Washington D.C. at Planet Hollywood back in 1995.
Okay, there you go. So we can, if you want, we can move to the weird questions I asked Josh in the first episode. I christened them my triple Qs in the following episode, the quick and quirky questions. So we can go through those if you want.
Okay.
Right. So question one, would you rather speak all languages or play all musical instruments?
I'd like to play all musical instruments because the reason I say this is because I think music can transcend languages. Like if there's somebody that might not understand English or I don't understand them, like I could play them music, they could play me music, and we get it because it's kind of like a language we both understand.
It's a universal language in its own way, kind of.
Yes.
Just like math and cash. Everybody speaks cash in the world. Question two, what is invisible but you wish people could see?
I would say maybe positive thoughts
Mm-hmm.
because, sometimes you might feel down in the dumps, but there's other people that, care for you, but it's kind of, unless they express it with words or whatever, sometimes it's just kind of hard to see what they're really thinking.
Absolutely. Question number three. I told you this was quick questions. What is your favorite insect?
I was actually looking up insects
Okay.
recently, and I saw this beetle that looked really cool, and it's called a rhinoceros beetle. It just kind of looks badass.
I think I've seen it. It rings a bell. I'll look it up, but I think I know which one you mean. And I agree with you. It looks pretty awesome. Question number four. What scene from a movie scarred you for life?
I would say the scene that scarred me for life. I remember being kind of scarred a little bit by American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
There's a scene where there's a family watching like the show, and
The home invasion?
yes,
Oh, fuck. Yes.
that freaked me out as a kid.
Oh my god, yeah. No, because that movie is from 1981, I think.
Yeah, but I saw it later. I
Okay.
was still like a young kid though. It was like 7 or 8 when I saw that.
No, yeah, we were one of the first families in our neighborhood that had a VCR, and somehow we were able to get a VHS of American Werewolf in London. And oh my Christ, yeah, the home invasion scene, it's freaky. I remember that. It's a great answer, man.
It's weird
Jesus.
because that film has such unsettling scenes like that, and then there's like scenes that I'm laughing now, like where the guy's friend's like deteriorating and trying to tell him to kill himself and stuff. He's like a skeleton.
Yes. Maybe I should watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in years and years. You know about what happened on the Twilight Zone
Oh
movie
yeah.
set, the incident, more than an incident. And I think I only heard about it like a few years ago, I guess. And I think that tarnished my view of everything that John Landis did, you know?
Yeah.
That guy is a scumbag pretty much.
Yeah, his son is a pretty big scumbag too, Max.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly the same thing. But no, John Landis has done some pretty good movies. And have you seen Into the Night? That was with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer.
I've might have seen some naughty images of Michelle Pfeiffer from Into the Night
From that
on the
movie,
internet
yes.
search, but that's about it.
All right. No, I don't know why that. Well, maybe that's why actually, but I don't. I don't know why that movie popped into my mind. But I remember liking it quite a bit because David Bowie has a small part in it
Oh,
as
really?
well. Yep, he plays a British hitman,
Ooh.
and he's not in it for that long, but he steals his scenes. He really catches your attention. But oh yeah, John Landis and an American Werewolf in London, man. Jesus Christ, yeah, what a movie. We will come back on movies when I'm done with the questions, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I wanted to have your opinions on a couple of things. Okay, so next question. What is the best nickname you've ever heard? It doesn't have to be someone you know, just, nickname in general, anyone. What is the best nickname you've ever heard?
Oh, geez. Best nickname I've heard. Oh, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on this.
That's
Best
okay.
nickname.
If you're drawing a blank, that's okay. You don't need to answer all the questions.
I'm drawing a blank right now on that one.
We can come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So, question number 6. What would you name your boat if you had one?
I would name my boat the Rocco because I had a dog called Rocco, and he was one of the strangest dogs I have ever known.
Okay.
And the joke was I would always call him a gentleman and a scholar.
Oh, okay. But in which way was it strange, that dog?
He was strange because he was the type of dog that would get mad at you if if you told him, hey, go lay down, and he doesn't want to lay down. Like if he's angry at you, he'll go pee on the plant out of spite.
He had a temper.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. So the Rocco, not Rocco, the Rocco.
Yeah, we'll just name it the Rocco.
Yeah, sounds good. I like that. Question number 7. Where is the worst smelling place you've been?
I had a dog named Jake, and he did some of the worst farts ever. So when he farted, that was the worst smelling place to be at.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, horrible.
Jeez. Okay. What kind of what breed was it?
He was kind of like a greyhound.
Okay. I mean, I don't know much about dogs, but are there breeds that are worse than others when it comes to farts?
Apparently, those, I guess.
Okay. All right. Question number 8. When did you screw everything up, but no one ever found out it was you?
Oh, I've screwed stuff up at work probably before, and just nobody really noticed.
Okay. I think it probably happens to most of us at some point.
Yeah.
All right. So, question 9. What is the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
The most interesting thing I've read or saw this week. I've been off most of the week, and I've only had 2 days of work. I haven't really read that much interesting stuff. I'm trying to think of something came up to mind that piqued my interest. I was like, ooh, man, that's interesting. And I'm kind of drawing a blank on that right now.
Maybe something on Twitter, by any chance?
It was probably something on Twitter or I did watch the Bee Gees documentary this week.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I didn't have the time. Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. There were some kind of cons about the film, like there was way too much Eric Clapton in it.
I think you could say that of everything involving Eric Clapton. There's too much Eric Clapton. Too much Eric Clapton in anything now. I also heard, I don't know if that's true, but that they went too fast over a few parts that deserved more time.
Yeah, it seemed like post Saturday Night Fever like got condensed to like 15 minutes of stuff, and they did
Oh,
it really fast. Like they didn't even talk about the Sergeant Pepper film, which I guess in retrospect, like it seemed like back in the day, everyone kind of blamed the Sergeant Pepper film for ruining the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton's career because they were both in that film. That might actually be the worst musical I've seen over my years. Now thinking about it, that one fucking sucked.
okay. There you go. Well, yeah, you can change your answer to any questions at any time. I mean, that's not a problem. I didn't see that the one you mentioned. I don't know anything about it. It was that bad, huh?
Yeah, you have Steve Martin and George Burns singing in that film.
Ugh. Okay, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Question 10. If you were given a 1 minute ad slot during the Super Bowl that you couldn't sell, you have to do something with it, what would you fill it with?
I'd probably make like a PSA about autism acceptance because I
Hmm.
always hear a lot about autism awareness, and like most people think that's a good thing, but most of the time it seems like I know Autism Speaks it's had a lot of criticism because one of the members was a big Trump supporter, and it seems like that group's more like beware of autism because it's bad. And
Mm,
I mean, autism is not bad. It's just like it's pretty much a different way of thinking. And my daughter is very smart, and she's a very caring person. She's very lovely. Like she's loving towards other people. She's very nice. I mean, sometimes she has her moments like when she gets mad about something, but she doesn't, you know, punch people or anything like that. And I think people just take autism in a bad way. It's just kind of accepting it's kind of a different way of thinking, and that's pretty much what autism is. It's her brain is set in a different way. It doesn't
mm,
make her a bad person.
mhm,
She's a very special person to me.
mhm. What would you say? Can you think of a movie that had an accurate depiction of autism?
Um, I'm thinking more of a show called. It's a British show called The A Word, and it seems like it's a more accurate representation of autism. It's in a child, and because you know, I think most people, if when they think of autism, they're thinking more like Rain Man, and kind
Yes.
of sometimes with Sophia, she kind of does repeat things sometimes, or repeat like she'll say a random phrase like Dustin Hoffman's character did, but it's not like I was trying to think like a really bad depiction of autism. And
I mean, most of them are pretty like the one that are bad. I suppose they would go immediately to the stereotypes. They wouldn't be subtle about it.
right.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you your opinion about this year in movies. I know that, of course, there were very few movies in theaters this year, obviously. But what would be your top three for this year?
Um, I think I'd have to include documentary films as well. I saw more documentaries than I did actual straightforward films that came
Okay.
out this year because there just wasn't that many that came out. I think The Invisible Man was pretty good that came out this earlier this year.
I saw it as well. Yeah. Yeah. Good choice.
That Zappa documentary would definitely be in my top three for this year.
Okay.
And the Bee Gees documentary was pretty. I would put that in the top three, maybe third place. Even though it did have some issues, I'm glad that the Bee Gees are kind of getting that kind of nice treatment. They're getting a nice, expensive HBO documentary about them. So That's good.
Yeah, good call. I haven't seen it yet, but I suppose or they are shown under a positive light.
They're shown under a positive light. The Bee Gees are.
Okay.
I did see another good documentary that came out this year too about the Go Go's. That was really good too. It was directed by the same director that did the history of the Eagles, and they're definitely two different bands. The Go Go's kind of have like a nice ego about them, like they were a nice, powerful girl group, and showed people that hey, women can rock just as hard as men can. Like we're all
Hmm.
equals and stuff. And they're not as bad egocentric people like the Eagles are.
Yes. Yeah, good call. I wanted to ask you, do you like David Fincher's movies in general?
I do like I do like David Fincher as a director.
Okay, yeah, so do I. But Mank is out on Netflix. It's been out for maybe a week or so. Okay, Citizen Kane, I've seen it. I know a little bit of the history behind it and all that. And I like David Fincher, but for some reason, I am completely uninterested in seeing that movie. I don't know, like, I am not feeling that movie at all. Am I a dumbass or?
I don't think you're a dumbass. Because I'm not I've never really been interested in seeing Citizen Kane.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen Citizen Kane. I've heard about Citizen Kane. I know it's like a big landmark in technology and cinema, and it's like regarded as the best film. And I did see like a YouTube video kind of commenting on that. And it was a guy that doesn't like Citizen Kane because he went to film school and they talked that film so much that I think it bothered him. Like, and he saw it, it's like, what's the big deal about it? It's like they're more interested. I think people like that film just because it broke a lot of cinematic ground and how things were
Mhm.
shot and editing and stuff like that. And it's just, I'm just not really interested in seeing a newspaper mogul. I'm not
Yes.
interested in seeing a story about that and how he became corrupt.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I know that I'm probably missing out, but I don't know if I'll ever see Mank. And I guess there are several references in that movie that unless you are super well informed on that movie, that you're not gonna get those references. I don't know. So, Mike, where can we reach you online?
I am on Twitter at Michael Bagford, and I'm also on Instagram at Bagford Michael.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's switched around. I remember. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, Michael. It was great to have you on the pod,
Yeah, it was nice talking to you.
and we might talk again pretty soon on the
Yes.
pod. All right, thanks.
Yeah.